Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. SBET Sharp Link gaming stock is up quite significantly over the last couple of weeks. Zoom out to the 6-month trend and you can see exactly what I am talking about. From these lows that we saw around about May time all the way to where we are right now, we've gone from prices in the $2 range all the way to major highs recently, which were well in excess of $30 or even $40. Now we're coming down slightly and we're hitting these more low levels around $20.67. And with such volatility in the last couple of weeks, the question in a lot of people's minds is, where do things go from here? Especially considering that in the last couple of days we have seen some consolidation, we've seen some support, and today we're up by a further 4.13%. Well, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you all of my personal thoughts and opinions based on what we are seeing. But please do remember, this is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. At the same time, if you do enjoy the content on the channel, you can always help by giving us a like and subscribing. It does mean a lot. Now that I've said all that, we can jump straight in, and I want to start off by looking at the price action that we are seeing today. Now, the most important thing to note, we are actually on a green day, up by 4.13%. That is about 81 cents at the time of filming. So you'll notice, especially when we zoom into the 5-day chart, yes, we have seen quite a lot of red, especially over the last week or two. We've seen this red, we've seen some major drops down, most notably on Friday. However, now we are coming into a more positive period. After the stock hit its lows around the 1918 mark, we are coming back and hitting ranges well above 20. This is quite significant, and after this dip, a lot of people are asking, are we on to the next potential run? Now, of course, it should go without saying that it is impossible to say with any degree of certainty. However, there are a few things to acknowledge and a few things to point out, especially given where we are at the minute. Now, I think we need to start off by zooming out, maybe even a bit further than the 1-month chart. Zoom out to that 3-month chart again, and you can see a few things. We hit these highs well in excess of where we are right now, right? Significant gains, really large increases in share price. However, we've cooled down significantly from then, hitting prices in the $17 range. What this all signals to some degree is we may be starting to find, now I use the term loosely, but we may be starting to find some degree of stability. Perhaps we will remain comfortable sat in this range. At the same time, I think a lot of people are going to see this as a very bullish sign, which may be a little bit premature, right? We're up by a small percentage today, especially compared to where we have been in the past. Now, a few things to note today is that even considering the gains that we have seen, we are still struggling to break above this level of $20.97 into the $21 range. Now, why this matters is because this has actually been a historically difficult level that we have seen in the past, especially when we zoom out a bit further. You can go all the way back to what we saw around about here, and if I zoom this out a little bit, see if it can all fit in the screen, you can see the point, right? You can see the recent point and this point here. Difficulty to break above that point right here. It didn't really hold as a support, it worked quite as a resistance, and we weren't able to see any major increases above that at this point. At the same time, it was previously a level of support back here, so it could really be either way. However, based on where we are now, based on the positive green day that we are seeing, based on the stability that we are seeing specifically towards the end of the day, I think things are relatively positive here. I think no matter which way you want to see this, this is obviously going to be a volatile play, and we do still have a little bit of time, about 2 hours at the time of filming to go until the day ends. If we can see the stock close above $20.37, ideally really above $20, I think things are going to be in a relatively good position. That is going to be quite a positive sign, in my opinion, for the majority of the rest of the week. Now, I say that because we've already seen this level hold up today. This was once a previous level of resistance, both here and here. Now it's looking possible that we could see this potentially hold up. Anything above $20 today is going to be considered, in my opinion, to be a win. However, this stock in the next week or so is going to be volatile, and there are going to be a few levels that we're going to need to look to break out of. Again, we're going to need to get above $21. That is going to be a very key level. On the low end, we really want to see this one remain above $20. This is going to be a key channel which could determine the rest of the week or the rest of the next few days, depending on how long this takes to play out. Is now, though, a potentially good entry point? Well, that is obviously going to depend on where you think things may go. Again, we have previously seen some difficulty at this level. This has previously, or the highs that we've seen recently, have previously been a level of difficulty. Zoom out a bit further, and you're going to see back here, we also were not able to break above this. So a break into the $21 range in the next couple of days could signify some big moves ahead. At the same time, we have now cooled off quite a bit from this recent increase and this even larger increase that we saw both recently. And now it looks like things could be beginning to stabilize. Now, what am I looking for on this stock in the next couple of days? Well, again, it's going to be subjective. Everyone's going to have different opinions. But remaining above $20 and at the very lowest $19 where we saw this dip earlier is going to be absolutely paramount. We're going to need to see this one at least remain above $19, ideally above 20. I think there is a possibility that this could happen. I think with the green coming back into the stock today, things are looking good. And I think going forwards into the future, there is a possibility that we could see this trend start to pick up again. Now, if we were to see that, we're going to need to see this one then go on to break above the $21.60 mark. We're going to need to see this one break really above the $23 mark. Now this, in fact, both of these to a degree, but especially in the $23.50 mark, we've seen a lot of difficulty getting above this in this channel here. Break above that, and then we could be going on to test even higher highs. Now, the most important thing that I want to stress here, especially over this next week, this is going to be a volatile stock to watch, right? This is going to be volatile either way. It's not going to be stable. It's perhaps not going to be easy to navigate. But it really depends. If you're in for those high risk, high reward plays, and again, this is not advice, do your own research. But if you're into those high risk, high reward plays, there is a possibility that we are relatively near to recent bottoms, again in the $18 range, arguably in the $17 range, not too far to the downside, right? Especially if that range at 19 holds up, especially if that range at 18 holds up, especially if that range at 17, 30 holds up. So potentially not that far from the downside. However, to the upside, well, we've seen this one hit 22, we've seen this one hit 23, 24, we've seen this one hit all the way in the 30s, into the low 40s. We've seen this, right, at brief periods of time in the past. So is there that possibility? Yes. However, do factor in that we are still up massively, and I need to zoom out, right, year to date, let's say. We are still up massively on this stock, so it's going to depend. And I know when I say it depends, it's an answer that people don't necessarily like, but the truth of it is simply that, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you guys what to think. I'm just giving you the key levels that I am looking for in the next couple of days, so that you guys can hopefully go on to start researching in a more educated manner. So yeah, I'm going to really want to see this one hold up above $20 ideally. But if we can't do that, 19, right? If you're into the high risk, high reward plays, you could make the argument that we are very close to recent bottoms. However, at the same time, this is going to be a risky play. This is going to be a risky play. If it was me and I was looking to get into this one, I would certainly not invest too much money here, right? I personally do see it as quite risky, especially at the moment. The volatility is going to be in here probably for the rest of the week, and that is something which, at the very least, you should be aware of. Just my personal thoughts on this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed this quick video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and I do hope I'll see you again very soon. Goodbye.